So Brock Jarvis loses his unbeaten record, getting iced in the first round by fellow unbeaten Aussie Liam Paro. Brock Jarvis is a strange name, at least to me. It sounds like something out of a 1980s American action TV series. You know, like Magnum P.I. or something? Starring Tom Selleck and Brock Jarvis. It's an odd name. Anyway, as far as I'm aware, this was Matchroom's first show in Australia. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, obviously, Eddie Hearn does shows all around the world. He doesn't attend them all because he's a very busy man. So he has to prioritize in terms of importance. And for whatever reason, he felt as though this fight and this show was important enough for him to fly all the way across the world to attend. Now, I joked in a recent video that he's doing it to run away from the Conor Benn situation. And indeed, Eddie Hearn himself joked about it in this Boxing Social interview. As you can see from the subtitles, he said, it's good timing to go to Australia with everything going on back home. Indeed, it was. Nevertheless, he attended the fight. I'd seen Brock Jarvis fight in America. It was actually his last fight back in 2021. And he didn't impress me there. He was easy to hit. He got hurt in that one. And I seem to remember, maybe you guys can refresh my memory, but a less than satisfactory conclusion to this contest. Maybe I'm misremembering, but that's what I recall was a less than satisfactory conclusion in the Rodriguez fight. And as I say, Jarvis did get hurt and he didn't look impressive. So it was no surprise or shock to me at all that he ended up losing to Liam Paro, a fighter I've never watched before. But there's a lot to be said in boxing for being relaxed. Now, this is often counterintuitive to casuals and people that have never boxed themselves, because they often think that you need to be fired up to go into a boxing ring and perform well. The opposite is usually true. Some fighters have that work for them, but in most instances, you want to be calm. You don't want to be fired up. You want to have a calm, relaxed body, but a sharp mind. That's the best way I can describe it. And that's exactly what Liam Paro had in this fight. Very calm, very relaxed southpaw. Apparently this fight was in his hometown, whereas Brock Jarvis, I guess, was fighting outside of his hometown. And I don't know if that had anything to do with the way Brock Jarvis was, but he seemed far more nervous than Liam Paro before the opening bell. If you watched him when they were doing the preliminaries and everything, he just seemed nervous. And when the opening bell went, he came out and he was absolutely stiff as a board. Very, very tight. And yeah, he was a little bit like that in his last fight as well, but I think even more so this time, just very, very tight, not getting his shots off cleanly or accurately, which is something that happens when you're really nervous and tight. You'll often totally mistime things. And as I say, in contrast, Liam Paro, totally relaxed. And one of the things that trainers will always tell you in boxing is don't go looking for knockouts. Just get into your boxing, get into your rhythm, into your groove, and the knockout opportunity will present itself to you. And that's exactly what happened here for Liam Paro. He had a very nervous, tense, tight opponent in front of him who was making lots of mistakes. So it was only a matter of time before he got the opportunity to land his best shot. And he steadied Brock Jarvis a few moments before the knockout occurred. And then he landed another left hand and Jarvis went down heavy. And you could tell by the way he went down that he was in serious trouble. He tried to get back up and he ended up falling back down on his face. And the referee rightly waved it off. So there you go. That was the Australian top of the bill on the weekend between Brock Jarvis and Liam Paro. Obviously, we've seen a bit of a rise in Australian boxing over the past few years. You've had the likes of George Kambosos, obviously. More recently, they've got the cruiserweight Opataya. And let's see if Liam Paro can reach the heights that his fellow countrymen have reached, the ones I've just mentioned. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I think that he looks pretty talented. But given the fact that Australia doesn't have the strongest competition for the most part, it doesn't have a massive population, you wonder with a guy who has only fought in Australia, if you look at his record here, how good he can really be. He needs to be tested against someone certainly outside of his country, or someone from outside of his country. He has fought in America in his last fight. Oh, he was down in round 1 in his last fight. Okay, I didn't know that. But it was against the guy who was 20-0-1. I don't know what level that guy was at. Maybe that was the kind of test I'm talking about, because again, this was my first time watching Liam Paro. But he's going to need more tests like that before I can make any kind of real assessment of him, because Brock Jarvis was no great shakes. So yeah, like I say, let me know what you guys think in the comments below.